helps with that.
Good evening. We're back from executive session, which we will pause executive session and return back later this evening. But we want to go ahead and get started with our facilities master plan, public hearing number 1.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening and welcome to the first hearing for the Comprehensive Facilities Plan. At this time, I'll ask Mr. Tracy Rector of HPM to come up and level set a little bit, then we'll turn back over to Mr. Wilburn, who will call speakers up.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Is this on? Can you hear me okay back there? Okay. So again, first of all, I'd like to acknowledge the community members that are coming out tonight to speak. This is, again, continues to be a very important part of this process as we continue to move forward. You know, as we've gone through this process and, you know, to the tune of a lot of community meetings, community engagement, we know there's more engagement to have. And we know there's some people who haven't been engaged so far, but understanding that this is a continuous conversation that we're going to have. So as we hear public comment tonight, as we go into December and as we start to implement a plan, also it's going to be important to hear these voices and to, again, continue to make adjustments as we move forward. Understanding that, once again, we're in a process that's going to take some time to get through. As Dr. Johnson noted earlier, that no plan gets put in place for the next school year. As Dr. Bradshaw said, it's 3 semesters before any change comes anyway, to talk about transition. The continued conversation with Chelsea Montgomery's work in repurposing and how facilities can help support communities is still going to be a critical part to the success of a plan like this. And the last thing I do want to say with this is, to be sure, is that for those who have necessarily been deep into this process, that none of these decisions have come lightly. They've come with a lot of angst, with a lot of discussion, hours and hours and hours of in front of the community work and behind the community and behind the scenes work about, you know, what are the right decisions to be made here. And the fact of the matter is that when school districts walk into a process of like this that has to look at reduction of their infrastructure, that it is, first of all, a necessary step for all districts to go through. There's no question. But I've said this, and I've been in education now for over 30 years. And in the school business, closing schools isn't good business. And it's hard. But sometimes it's necessary to make the school business work and to ensure that the future of your students will be in place for that. And so not that it ignoring what we're going to hear and seeing and knowing what we're going to hear and listening to that. And it doesn't make it any comforting to know that this is a necessary process. And we do understand that. But what we do want to make sure that we continue to emphasize is a continued relationship with communities in times of transition. And that we will be out there, we will be listening, we will continue to work with you as we go through this plan. We talked early when I talked to board members, and it's the last thing I'll say to this. We talked early about one of the things about developing a longer range facilities plan is that it will have the ability to adjust because it's necessary for a plan to be able to adjust in a city of this dynamic. And so as we look out at the future, making sure that we're strategically looking at these facilities, and one of the reasons we've emphasized repurposing is knowing that cities like this shift, they reinvest, they regrow, they shrink in other places. And so this district's going to need flexibility for the future. And then the tough part now is implementation. The planning process isn't over. It's continuous, like we've said. We have a lot of conversations, not just about school consolidation. We have conversations about reinvestment. We have a lot of conversations about overutilization of schools. That is a pressing need also in this district, and we don't want to ignore that. And so as we move forward, once again, I look forward to hearing what the community continues to have to say. We're here to listen still. And thank you for the community to come out tonight. Thanks for the board for supporting this process and to continue to have the voice open. And Dr. Johnson, thank you for your leadership in this. It's very much appreciated. And I know you'll continue to be in front of this community.
At this time, we're going to call the first three speakers up for 2 minutes, and we ask that you please come in this order. Laura Hawk, Martha Madal, and Marguerite Lane. Please come in that particular order, and you have 2 minutes.
Shall I begin? Hey, y'all. My name is Laura Hawk, and I'm a proud parent of a 225 certified Astro, part of the Frederick Douglass High School Astro Nation. I value the 9th grade STEAM Academy and what it represents for our students and our future. APS's own data tells a powerful story. Since the creation of the STEAM Academy, attendance among 9th graders is higher than any other grade level. 9th grade retention has dropped dramatically from more than 150 students repeating a grade to fewer than 40. Out-of-school suspensions are down by 20%. And perhaps most importantly, school culture has transformed. Our students proudly call themselves Astros. They feel seen, they belong. Superintendent Johnson has repeated often that we are getting back to basics, and that is a good place for the rest of APS to focus. Frederick Douglass is already doing that. The results are undeniable. Douglass just achieved the largest graduation rate increase in the entire district, rising to a record 89.4%. This is a 3-year, year-over-year improvement since 2022 by 30 points. That's progress worth protecting, not dismantling. I have watched the proposed plans throughout this process, and the fate of FDHS STEAM Academy hasn't changed. So I ask you, if consolidation is our fate, what guarantee have you offered the Astro Nation for a larger budget for Frederick Douglass as a whole? At the last board meeting, board member Brooks called attention to the higher rates of SRO calls in predominantly Black schools. I deeply appreciate him calling attention to this data point and would also urge the district to maintain Douglass's 4 behavior specialists. They are essential to the positive culture and student success that APS's own numbers reflect. Provision of wraparound services and intensive culture development of the 9th grade STEAM Academy have been pivotal to draw behavior
your 2
number
minutes
down.
are up.
Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Martha Mundell, and I'm a junior English major at Spelman College, concentrating in secondary education. I came to Atlanta to learn how to teach, and this has remained my goal as a result of Dunbar Elementary School. For the past 2 years, I've served as a volunteer at Dunbar, and this fall, I've had the immense privilege of working alongside Ms. Mangum and her 5th grade ELA classroom. Each week, I've watched her students, bright, curious, and resilient, grow not just as readers, writers, and thinkers, but also as people discovering their own voices. Yet, the most important lesson I've learned from Dunbar Elementary School is that community is not a luxury, but it is the very soil of our survival. Community is care made tangible, and it is the kind of love that public institutions so frequently forget how to give, and yet instill how quick we are to uproot the vulnerable at the expense of the masses, how quick we are to displace those who are the beneficiaries of a system that finally provides them with some semblance of communal care, and how quick we are to confuse efficiency with equity and budget cuts with moral clarity. APS may be facing an $157 million deficit, but the true deficit is not merely financial. It is the deficit that comes from simply forgetting that numbers alone are not capable of measuring the worth of promising students. To repurpose Dunbar would not be a strategic move. It would be, at its core, an act of erasure. A decision that tells a community that stability, belonging, and care are conditional luxuries and not human rights. I close with a series of questions. Where do you truly place your value, in capital or in community? When histories remember this moment, will your name stand beside investment or displacement? And finally, what legacy do you leave when you choose to silence the joy and hope of students to balance a ledger? I am asking you to reject any proposal to close or repurpose Dunbar Elementary School and instead pour into the Mechanicsville community to strengthen and not dismantle the few remaining institutions that hold it together. Keep Dunbar open, keep community intact, and keep the heart of Mechanicsville beating. Thank you.
Hi, so
And- You can go ahead.
I've served on the facilities task force. I've gone to all the meetings. I've gone to the community meetings. This is incredibly painful as a process, and I really feel for every single school that's affected. One thing I want to reiterate, though, is a special ed parent, we have to do something. We do have to right-size some schools. We have to get the numbers out, and we have to get the state money. The small school supplement has not achieved for special ed, not anywhere. We don't have paraprofessionals making a living wage. They are dealing with the most challenging children we have, and they had come in after their second job to exhausted to start out doing the most challenging job. We don't give them career paths for further development, but they interpret the work of a PhD psychologist every single day in the classroom. We will not be able to do this unless we get through this facilities planning. It's absolutely necessary. But one thing I do want to make sure we do is if we do this, we do the hard things. What needs to happen next is we have to lean into using those resources effectively. We will never improve exceptional ed if paraprofessionals do not make a living wage. It is impossible. We will have to have more and better speech therapists and OTs. We will have to spend on reading specialists and math specialists. If we do not do these things, we will have done all these hard things. We will have caused all this community pain to no avail. So when we need to do the thing, but once we do the thing, we need to make sure we actually spend our money wisely. And to that end, one way we can begin to do that is when we do the Performing Arts Subtask Force and we do the CTA Subtask Force. It is imperative that we have inclusion. We need to have inclusion across students with disabilities, parents with disabilities, experts in that community. It really must happen.
Thank you. Our next three speakers are Uther Rothermel, Gina Hawkins, and Sydney Shaw. Please come in that order at the same time. And as those speakers are coming, audience, I do remind you that our rules still apply from our community meeting, that we do not do cheering and jeering that defames or disrupts the meeting. So please refrain from applauding and jeering after the comments. Thank you.
Hello, so my name is Uta. I'm a mom at Dunbar Elementary School. I have two sons at Dunbar Elementary School and one son who's headed for Dunbar Elementary once he gets out of the daycare downstairs. And so I can tell you all the reasons why it's wrong to close Dunbar. You would essentially be replacing education by transportation. You would centralize education to decentralized families. You would break apart a community hub. But I really want to also turn this around because the savings that you're supposed to make from this transition are about 1.5 to 2 million. And that's really not a lot. And you didn't even consider the costs that are there for the community down the line. You didn't consider the costs of transportation. You didn't consider the costs of maintaining the facilities. So if you turn this around and you think about a future 3 years down the line, where you look at this district, which is shaped like a bean, you would have 3 schools on one side. Sorry. So you would have 3 schools on one side of the bean, nothing at all on the left. So where you already have a food desert, you're also going to have an education desert on top of that. And you would have an opportunity to spend $1 million a year to have a whole school, an after-school care center, and all of the other facilities that are there around Dunbar Elementary School. There's a pool, there's a park, there's a playground. And if you haven't been there, I really urge you to look at that school and understand just how integral it is to that community. So you're never going to get that chance again to get a school like this for a price like that. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Gene Hughes. I'm a junior biology major, sociology minor on the pre-med track, and I currently attend Morehouse College. I first want to start off and say Dunbar isn't just a building, it is a lifeline because most of the children live nearby and they can walk to school. When you guys want to redistrict them, they have, they couldn't be able to go to school sometimes because, life happens and stuff. And, hold on one second, I'm sorry. And the kids in the neighborhood can't walk to school anymore because sometimes, they miss the bus. And what are they supposed to do? Because, sorry, I'm nervous. Anyways, I'm gonna keep going. I think we have to be honest with ourselves. I feel like closing the school, Dunbar Elementary, in an all-black neighborhood doesn't solve problems. I feel like it creates more because these kids are the next generation, and I don't know if will be able to continue their education. I don't know if it's even worth their investments. Dunbar is filled with promising children. I've seen it. I worked there all last year from September to April, twice a week. I've seen them work through math problems, count to 100 and beyond, and watching them, seeing how joyful they are to be at school is something that I don't think you should be able to take away from them without them having a voice. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gianna Hawkins. I am a sophomore health science major, political science minor on the pre-med track from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I attend Spelman College. I have the pleasure to be a volunteer for Atlanta Public Schools since March 5th, 2025. I'm here to speak about how the APS Move Forward 2040 plan will negatively impact the students and families I volunteer with. As someone who volunteers directly with these amazing kids, I've seen firsthand how a lack of resources affects their ability to learn and grow. Atlanta Public Schools are full of bright, curious, and determined students, but they're being asked to succeed with no support from people they consider their heroes, which would be you. Larger class sizes, fewer support programs, and limited materials are becoming the norm, and it's heartbreaking to see the strain this puts on both teachers and students. Education is supposed to be the great equalizer, the tool that opens doors and builds futures. For example, when a school like Dunbar Elementary is left behind, we send a message that some children's futures are worth less than others. These are kids who deserve every opportunity to dream big and reach their potential. That's why volunteers like me continue to show up. Whether it's tutoring, mentoring, or being a consistent presence, we do our best to fill in the gaps. But no matter how dedicated we are, community volunteers cannot replace the essential resources and support a school needs to thrive. More importantly, a school that is the heart of a community. The APS Move Forward 2040 plan must move all students forward, not just those in already well-funded schools. I'm asking our leaders to listen tonight to the voices of those most affected and ensure that all 16 Atlantic public schools get the attention and investment its students deserve. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sydney Shaw. I'm a junior economics major at Spelman College, but more importantly, I'm a 3-year volunteer at Dunbar Elementary. I stand before you today to oppose this proposed school closure. I've seen firsthand the phenomenal impact that Dunbar has had on its students. I spent hundreds of hours in classrooms and hallways watching children flourish and discover their potential. Dunbar is their foundation, their safe haven, and their community anchor, and sometimes their only one. Closing this school would devastate the children and families of a community that has already suffered so much. It would disrupt the stability and momentum that we as volunteers and community members have collectively worked to build. Consider that alone, over 86% of Dunbar students walk to school every single day. What does this mean for the student of the family with 6 children when they miss the bus? And their parents are working 5 jobs just to get them there alone. Dunbar is utterly essential to the Mechanicsville identity. We must find a better way. I urge you to stop this closure now and commit to seeking fair, community-centered alternatives. Don't take away the one place that serves as a consistent, nurturing home for these incredible students. Dunbar is bigger than a line item. It is a home. Thank you.
Our next 3 speakers are Morgan Simpson, Joashia Jacobs, and Anila. Please come in that order.
Hi, my name is Morgan Simpson, and I've been a volunteer at Dunbar Elementary for about 2 years. While working there, I have seen how important this school is up to the community and how much it truly cares for the students. Ms. Bowie and the counselor and other school administration have invested time in learning the story name of every student who walks through those doors. In all my years of grade school, I have never seen a faculty take such an interest in their students. Also, I know a lot of these kids are like a family to each other. Many of them have been going to school with each other since they were yay high. And so shutting down Dunbar would be essentially breaking up a family, which could cause more harm than good. While working there, I have seen students cheer each other on as they improve their academics and gain the desire for higher education. I, along with other students and staff, are calling on the board to vote no to the closing or so-called repurposing of Dunbar Elementary School. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joycia Jacobs, a junior sociology and comparative women's studies double major at Spelman College. I am here on the behalf of Petals of Promise, a mentorship organization that has proudly served the young girls of Paul L. Dunbar Elementary for several years. The proposed closure of Dunbar sends a painful message that Dunbar students are somehow unworthy of investment. For years, we have poured our hearts, time, and resources into nurturing these students, mentoring them, guiding them, and even walking them home after school to ensure their safety and well-being. We haven't given up on Dunbar, and it's not time for you to either. Dunbar is not an underused facility. It's the beating heart of Mechanicsville, a neighborhood where 86% of students walk to school every day. That is community, that is connection. Closing Dunbar would not only displace children, but also dismantle an institution holding this community together. Dunbar is more than a school. It's a promise, one that we, Petals of Promise, have kept over several years. Please keep that promise too. Keep Dunbar open, invest in the children and families who call it home. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Anila Bell. I'm a sophomore sociology major at Spelman College, but I'm also a community member that volunteers at Dunbar Elementary. I'm someone who shows up because I believe in the power of this school and the power of the people inside of it. When I walk through Dunbar doors, I see kids who light up when they're encouraged, teachers who are always willing to go the extra mile, and families who depend on the school for more than just academics. Dunbar is more than a school. It's a safe place, a place of community pride, and a place where hope grows every single day. I've seen firsthand how much love this school pours into its students, and that's not something you can repurpose. You can't repurpose the heart of a neighborhood. Closing Dunbar would take away more than just a building. Closing Dunbar would take away connections, it would take away trust, and it would take away opportunities from families that are already giving everything that they have. So tonight, I'm asking you, invest in Dunbar, believe in Dunbar, and please vote no on closing or repurposing Dunbar Elementary. Thank you.
And our last two speakers are Claire Dozier and Arthur Carson. Please come in that order.
Good evening. My name is Claire Dozier. I'm an educator, a Mechanicsville resident, and an APS parent. I know that you all have personal reasons for doing this work and that you want what's best for Atlanta's children. And like you, I believe in the power of public schools and our public schools to create equal opportunity and serve the common good. After living in Mechanicsville 10 years, I got to walk my daughter to her first day of kindergarten at Dunbar Elementary this past August. I've seen Dunbar as a pillar of our community, a lifeline for the neighbors in need. I've seen the neighborhood's challenges over the past decade, how Mechanicsville has been passed over for opportunity and investment time and time again. But I've also seen resilience and connection at Dunbar and a staff who make heroic efforts to ensure that some of Atlanta's most vulnerable children are cared for in a nurturing and affirming environment. Looking at Dunbar, you may see an underused facility, but we see the cornerstone of a community ecosystem. You may say that our kids can attend great schools just a bus ride away, but removing a walkable neighborhood school creates barriers to attendance, access, and family engagement. And when you say that sacrifices must be made, we see that those sacrificed are Black children in communities with the fewest resources. The plan to close Dunbar is unjust, plain and simple. It punishes a Black neighborhood for not being gentrified enough and consolidates resources and access in the more privileged areas of the Jackson cluster. The community engagement process has also fallen short and, quite frankly, eroded trust. We were told no decision has been made. We're still being told no decision has been made. Yet how was the outcome not predetermined by the facility scores? What feedback could ever outweigh that? If you move forward with this plan, closing Dunbar will cause irreparable harm to Mechanicsville. Equity is not a buzzword, it's a call to act differently. Saving Dunbar would prove that APS truly values its most vulnerable students and families. Thank you.
My name is Arthur Carson. I'm the senior pastor of Springfield Baptist Church in Northwest Atlanta. I pastor a church where Scott is across the street from us. But Scott did not begin across the street from us. It began on the yard of Springfield Baptist Church in 1878. That's the beginning of Scott Elementary School. Well, Reverend Scott, who helped found our church, also founded a school in an era when it was not popular or even available for African Americans to be educated. In 1949, when APS and the City of Atlanta decided to put a school in Northwest Atlanta, they named that school after William J. Scott. I'm appealing you tonight from a historical perspective. They've closed Pitts Elementary, which does not exist anymore, closed Archer High School, which does not exist anymore, but we only have one school left in the Scotts Crossing community. I appeal to you tonight to save our history. Don't let Scott go and our history go with it. More about Scott. Scott has made tremendous gains and improvements over the years, and because of that, we believe that Scott has an opportunity to make additional gains. Scott is a resource for our community. I've heard tonight our schools have been available for people to walk. That's what our children do. They walk. They don't ride a bus. And of course, we know if they miss the bus, well, they don't get to school that day. Please hear my appeal tonight from a historical perspective. Keep the only black school in Scotts Crossing in our area. Please do that for the benefit of all the children who walk to school, and of course for the faculty and staff who do an excellent job.
Mr. Carson, your 2
educating our
minutes is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes the first public comment for facilities master planning.
Thank you, Mr. Wilborn. Thank you for joining us for the Facility Master Plan public hearing. We have paused executive session where we return towards the end of our community meeting. But before we resume our regular meeting of the Atlanta Board of Education, as students are at the heart of everything that we do, we take pride in highlighting their gifts, talents each month at our meeting. We are excited to welcome the Micah R. Hollis Innovation Academy Chorus, directed by Janina Beasley. Thank you, and let's give the Hollis Innovation Academy Chorus one more round of applause. Phenomenal. During each board meeting, Atlanta Board of Education takes a moment to recognize individuals or group who are making a meaningful impact across our district. These recognitions are led by board members and reflect our commitment to celebrating advocacy, excellence, and service through the APS community. At this time, I would like to turn the floor over to Board Member Cynthia Briscoe Brown for her recognition.
Good evening. Our newly re-elected mayor, Andre Dickens, congratulations, by the way, if you're listening, says Atlanta is a group project. Nowhere is that more true than here in Atlanta Public Schools. APS is full of unsung heroes. Thousands of employees and tens of thousands of families, partners, and community members quietly go above and beyond every day to give every one of our 50,000 students everything they need to be successful in college, career, and life. Among those unsung heroes are 4 individuals who make sure my colleagues and I have everything we need to be successful board members. Our board office staff, Michael Wilburn, Executive Director, Tamesia Miles, Administrative Manager, Mahogany Johnson, Administrative Assistant, and Keith Glass, Program Director, work tirelessly behind the scenes to plan, organize, communicate, and troubleshoot so we are able to do the work of governance. Whether it's extra business cards or copy of a speech, a gentle reminder to respond to a calendar invite, sometimes not so gentle, assistance with bulky IT apps or laptops. Jessica, I saw that going on up there tonight. Answers to all of my really random questions, or the detailed planning of a retreat, ceremony, or community meeting. They're always on the spot and ready to help any way they can. These 4 have a combined 43 years of dedicated service to APS, which is even longer than I've been involved. And they have a wealth of knowledge about how to get things done, which they use to make the 9 of us look good. And perhaps most important, their listening ears, creative minds, and occasionally shoulders to cry on have gotten me through more knotty problems and difficult days than I can count. So tonight, I am pleased and proud to shine the spotlight on 4 people who never ask for it or seek it, but absolutely deserve it. Keith, Mahogany, Tamesia, and Michael, please come forward to receive your recognitions.
We get the benefit from her love.
So well deserved. So well deserved.
Yes.
Michael.
Yes.
Hey, we got because that didn't happen. It's not gonna happen. It didn't happen. Oh.
Don't let me fall. Oh, shoot. There we go. Let me just do this so I can put my foot on the ground. Thank you. Okay. No, I ain't walking that way. Yeah.
Congratulations again to that group. I can echo, they do a tremendous job. We have 3 recognitions tonight. The first recognition, I want to take a moment to recognize the Atlanta Track Club and their manager of youth operations, Mike Brown, as well as, I believe, is it Karen Lamphere is here, and she's the guest manager across country. But to tell you a little bit about them, the partnership is about more than running. It's about building confidence, perseverance, and teamwork in student athletes. And this year, that impact has been clearer than ever. The highest number of APS student participants in history, and our APS City Championship saw 679 finishers, which is a 13% increase over last year and a powerful testament to the growth across schools. On behalf of Atlanta Public Schools, come on up, Executive Director of Athletics, Greg Goodwin, as well. We're going to get you in this photo. We want to say thank you, Atlanta Track Club, for your efforts and your partnership. All right, this next recognition is one we're very excited about. He's been on a deserving, media tour, but we are very, very proud of Coach Darren Miles at Carver High School, the head football coach. Recently, Coach Miles just became the 3rd coach in APS history to eclipse 150 wins. The Panthers ended the season with a perfect 10-0 record. Number 2 in the state. Now, Coach Miles, I'm still learning about you. This is one thing I learned, and we have to talk about this afterwards. He's a New Orleans native, and he's a former Purdue University running back. So I grew up without cable, and I had to watch Notre Dame football. So we're going to have to talk about Notre Dame, Purdue. But Coach Miles is now, he's in his 21st season at Carver. He's transformed the program from just 11 wins in a decade. He arrived to a consistent playoff contender. More importantly, Coach Miles has changed lives and helped student athletes earn a multitude of scholarships and just shown extraordinary leadership. Thank you and congratulations, Coach Miles. And he's got family here. Y'all, please come up and celebrate with him. Yeah. Now, we will. Absolutely. All right. Our last but certainly not least recognition tonight goes to our school psychologist. It's my privilege to celebrate a group of professionals who are the heart of our student support system, our student support system as a whole, in observance of National School Psychologist Week, which is recognized November 3rd through 7th. We take this moment to honor the tremendous contributions to our schools and our students. Our school psychologists go above and beyond to ensure that children in Atlanta Public Schools are seen, heard, supported academically, socially, and emotionally. Their compassion and expertise help create safe, nurturing environments where students can thrive. We have Ms. Powell from Harper Archer, Dr. Williams from Therrell, Haley Grant from Dobbs, Ms. Arreo from Finch, Ms. Patrick from Hollis, Ms. Green, who's the APS Student and Family Hub, Ms. Malone at Parkside, Ms. Mims at Tuskegee, Ms. Carter at Warren T. Jackson, Ms. McCombo at the Family Support Hub, Ms. Austin at Morningside, Ms. Gwillen at E. Rivers, Ms. Dixon at the Hub, Ms. Howell at the Hub, Ms. Barrow at the Hub, Ms. McCombie at the Hub, Ms. Arroyo at the Hub, Ms. at Finch, Ms. Abdullah Mesa at Usher Collier, Ms. Kennard at MLK. Congratulations to all of you and thank you for your efforts. Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Oh shit. Yeah, workers' comp. Yes, man. I'll be in the car rolling with it.
Thank you for all the recognitions this evening. Now we will go into our community meeting. Mr. Wilborn, will you proceed with the guidelines around our community and our public comment? Thank you.
Yes, Madam Chair. Good evening and welcome to the public comment portion of tonight's agenda. In just a few moments, the board will begin hearing from those who signed up to speak by 5:50 p.m. The board welcomes your comments, but before we get started, please take note of the following guidelines on how public comment is conducted. The board has allocated 1 hour for public comment, and each speaker will only be allowed to speak once for a total of 2 minutes. The board may elect to hear community comments in any order or sequence and is not limited by the order of sign-up sheets. All speakers presenting highly detailed information are asked to put their comments in writing, and comment cards are available for those wishing to do so. In order to maintain meeting decorum and follow appropriate protocols, protect the confidentiality of students, and ensure impartiality, the board will not hear comments or matters involving individual students, parents, or the character, professional competence, or the physical or mental health of any individual. Also, the board will not hear public comment on personnel matters that specifically include the names or titles of employees. This includes, but is not limited to, contract non-renewals, position abolishment, the hiring or firing of staff, and investigative proceedings regarding allegations of misconduct. Comments regarding personnel issues should be sent in writing to Atlanta Board of Education, 130 Trinity Avenue, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, 30303, or via email at boardcomments@atlantapublicschools.us. Finally, in order to maintain meeting decorum and ensure all comments can be heard by the board, applause, cheering, jeering, or speech that defames individuals or disrupts the meeting should be refrained from and may be cause for removal, adjournment of the meeting, and or suspension from attending future Atlanta Board of Education events, hearings, meetings, and other proceedings. With that said, I'd like to call the first 3 speakers to the microphone. Governor Brown, Tawanda Leah, and Gloria Pritchett, please come in that order.
Hi, thank you guys for your time today. My name is Governor Brown. I'm a product of the Atlanta Public School System. I just wanted to speak about the budget deficit that is being discussed. There is roughly $25 million looking to be saved by reducing the size of the Atlanta Public School System. But if you look at the Atlanta budget, you can see that we're spending $44 million on the fleet service vehicles that are available for Atlanta, and then also $257 million within the police budget for this fiscal year. There are other ways to reconcile the budget within Atlanta, but the schools is not the way to do it. If you look at the schools and the locations of these schools that you guys are looking to close, they're all along major thoroughfares within Atlanta. I don't believe that's coincidental. I believe, like the person who spoke earlier, that is related to trying to privatize these areas, especially a school like Cleveland Avenue Elementary School, where there are several apartment complexes that house several children within that community, also a Dunbar Elementary School. So that's my main concern. I just hope that you guys can see that the long-term effects of making this decision will adversely affect low-income communities. I drive throughout the city every day. I see our children riding the public MARTA bus currently to school or walking to school. And this is in Jonesboro, Cleveland Avenue area. So if you guys can try to find other ways to reconcile the budget without cutting out opportunities for our youth, I would appreciate that very much. Thank you all.
Good evening. My name is Tondalea DeRosa Caesar, and I am a community member, Atlanta resident, future mother, entrepreneur, and farmer. And I am commenting about a historic site, a sacred 1 acre site called Hardnett Elementary School. It also has a few other names. Also the historic Hardnett Community Garden, also Hardnett Farm ATL. And I represent a collective of agro-entrepreneurs, educators. I myself am a farm ag educator. And I'm here today because I'm just curious about what the future of the site is. This is, again, a very historic, sacred site. It sits in Bush Mountain, which is one of Atlanta's oldest Black enclaves. And the site is important, just echoing some of the students and families. This site was created by Reverend Hardnett because of segregation. The school that students used to go to in that neighborhood was actually forcibly closed down by the KKK in Oakland City, which is adjacent to Bush Mountain, and it's a very historic site. The school was established on the site where we currently farm at. It is also home to the Atlanta Preschool Cooperative, which APS actually used as a model for the first integrated preschools in Atlanta. John Lewis and his wife, their son, actually attended this cooperative back in the day, and we're continuing that legacy. We don't know what the future is of the site. We understand that it's up for redevelopment, but we just want to propose a proposal for this site as a hub for education, innovation, and alternative learning, because we are agriculture educators. And just given the state of where we're at right now when it comes to food, nutrition, wellness, we don't even know what's happening in our country and how important that is for our communities. And I understand that some of your pillars.
Thank you. Your 2 minutes are up.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Gloria Pritchett, and I'm here tonight to, first of all, good evening again, and congratulations to those who were successful in their bid yesterday for different seats. I'm here for the Lakewood project. It is a request to recognize someone whose dedication, service, and mentorship has exemplified unwavering support and years of leadership to the youth of Atlanta. We have already shared, our group has already shared his bio in the last 2 board meetings. So I have here tonight copies of several of his awards that he got, well, 3 of his awards that he got. There are many. I have shared those already with a couple of your board members, so hopefully you'll remember, or you may have them with you. In 2016, a plaque was given to Coach Augustus Pritchett. It says, "In sincere appreciation to Augustus E. Pritchett for your time, dedication, continued support as a starter," and it says, "Thanks." This is from Atlanta Public Schools Track and Field Program. In 2019, there was an award given by the Olympic Clinic of Atlanta. The Olympic Clinic honors previous Councilman Ivory Lee Young, and the award is given in the name of Eddie Hart, an all-in-one foundation for the Athlete Youth Success Institute.
Thank you.
And it was awarded.
Your 2 minutes are up.
Okay, thank you so much.
Our next 3 speakers are Claire, Dozier, Margarita Lane, and Kenya. Please come in that order. Okay, thank you so much. Our next 3 speakers are Claire Dozier, Margarita Lane, and Kenya. Please come in that order. Our next 3 speakers are Claire Dozier, Margarita Lane, and Kenya. Please come in that order. Our next 3 speakers are Claire Dozier, Margarita Lane, and Kenya. Please come in that order.
Thank you. I got my time earlier. Appreciate y'all.
Talk more about special education. So, grades 6 through 12, this is where we have been stuck. This is where we've been badly stuck for a long time. This is why we are losing kids to the state charters, to the privates. This is why it is bipartisan to support privatization laws all across the country that take money from our schools. This is why I make everything about special ed. We're at a time where we're at the threat from the federal level. We're at threat from the state level. But you know what they can't do? When we get our highest needs kids right, our most vulnerable kids right, that can't be replicated by any charter system, by any private system. We will be doing something that literally no one else can do. We'll be showing why public education, why we matter. And at this time, when Brown v. Board is under threat, I want us all to think about how we are the cradle of the civil rights movement here in Atlanta. Every civil rights law, IDEA, our concept of free and public education, our 504s, our IEPs, these all stem out of Brown v. Board. We wouldn't have them if it weren't for Brown v. Board. So since we are the home of the civil rights movement, we can be the home of the very first urban public school system to get special education right. And so that's why I want us to keep leaning in, use the facilities, use this plan that we've all come together for, and get that funding in the correct places, and also get our attitude right. Get it across the district, every principal, every leader understanding that we can lean in, we can engage with the parents and the community members. When we do the sub-task forces, make sure we are well represented and we can get it done. We can be the first system in the country to get special ed right.
Good evening. My name is Kenya. I'm a proud member of the Carver Cluster community. We have all seen how decisions can send ripples through an entire community. And this proposal to dissolve our cluster would send shockwaves through families who have spent generations building trust, stability, and pride in the Atlanta public schools. But I want to be clear, this is not just a plan. This is a turning point, and you have a choice to divide or to strengthen. Your own strategic plan calls for expanding access to high-interest, workforce-ready programs and exploring innovative school models. That's the right direction. But innovation should connect communities, not scatter them. It should expand opportunity, not uproot it. When you dissolve a cluster, you dissolve relationships, you dissolve mentorship, you dissolve belonging. And once those bonds are broken, it takes years to rebuild them. This is not progress, this is loss. But here's the opportunity. Atlanta Public Schools can choose a different path. You can lead with collaboration instead of disruption. You can build new programs with the people who have always believed in the public education system. So I'm urging this board, do not dissolve our Carver cluster. Do not displace our children. Keep these families together. Keep their trust intact. Keep this cluster strong. Because when our communities are rooted, our students rise. And when our students rise, APS wins. Thank you.
The next three speakers are DeMica Luster, Collins Bowers, and Abby Greenbaum. Please come in that order.
Hi, everyone. My name is Demisha Luster, and I do a lot of things around Atlanta. When I thought about the remarks that I wanted to share tonight, I wasn't sure where I wanted to go, but I thought about the fact that oftentimes people look at school as school time and then out of school time as out of school time. But as someone who has an early learning background, it's important to look at the whole child and how much 24 hours really impacts the life of a child. And so I thought about, as a neighbor in Mechanicsville who has supported Dunbar for over a decade, how do we talk about Dunbar beyond just the students and what it means to our neighborhood? A lot of that turns into the actions of our neighbors. I'm someone who's put more than $250,000 into our neighborhood just through investment in social determinants of gun violence, safe schools, and just lots of other initiatives, from Rosa Birney Park becoming safe so that students can walk safely, since more than 80% of our students walk. At one point, we had 86 children that were unhoused, and we were providing uniforms. We were providing Christmas presents, meals, anything that was needed to support the students at Dunbar, no matter how many were there. And I think that reflects a lot of what my neighbors invest in. And so it is a little disheartening as someone who doesn't have a child, but outside of working, I spend a disproportionate amount of time with APS youth, and just the investment that we make in hoping that our students are safe, they make it to school, they make it home, and that they are learning in our community and in our environment. And a lot of us put our time and effort into creating a safe environment so that they can learn, not just in school traditionally, but outside of school when they have to make those social connections with folks and things may not go right. It's those of us who are violence interrupters and who are reclaiming space after incidences of violence. We're the ones who hold space for them so that they not just get to school safely, but when they're walking home, they can get home safely beyond just
Thank you.
safe
Your
routes
2
to
minutes
school.
are up.
Hi, Colin Bauer. I'm a parent living in the Sylvanville zone. My family is zoned for workers. I have children, including a rising partner, and I'm here to speak in support of the proposal, specifically the combining of Ferguson and Finch Elementary's building. This puts a full-size elementary school in the middle of the Sylvanville Capitol neighborhood. There is lots of shared community between those neighborhoods and the Washington cluster. And the new high schools at Carver are an exciting opportunity for our specific area, as well as the entire district. The status quo is unsustainable in the current cluster model, frankly unsustainable, and there's a lot to be excited about with this new proposal. I do want to raise some details, though, to fill it out and make it as best as possible. I'd like the district to ensure that there's a well-communicated, well-written plan. We're going to be moving a lot of kids around to a lot of new places. Frankly, the facilities task force had a lot of confusion. That confusion should not be repeated as part of this process. Specifically with Sylvan Middle, the new elementary school, I'd like to see the full footprint of that large building leverage to build out programming specifically focused on the arts. There's lots of space there for lots of exciting opportunities. The Atlanta Music Project right down the street. And you want to create opportunities for local residents to get into the new Atlanta School of the Arts. They're going to have to qualify for. And to do that, you're going to need exposure and practice with arts education. And then finally, I'd like to ensure that Ferguson and Finch and all the schools that are being repurposed are put to good use for their communities. Specifically, where Ferguson and Finch are located, these areas are rapidly commercializing, and want to ensure that those locations remain assets. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Abby Greenbaum, and as many of you know, I'm the proud parent of a first grader at Finch Elementary. I'm not going to say again all the things that I and others from our community have already told you about why we believe our school should stay open, why we're committed to growing its numbers, because I do hear you that it's too late and that closing schools are the only way to put the district on solid financial footing. But what I want to speak to tonight is who is being asked to carry the heaviest load in this right sizing. Many impacted schools are, like Finch, predominantly black schools where white and affluent families have mostly choiced or chartered or moved away, and where many students and caregivers face real barriers to meeting basic needs like housing, safe housing, transportation, and food on the table. This proposal predicts millions in savings, and if this gets voted in, the board and APS are accountable to make sure that this money is reinvested in every community currently losing a school. New schools and programs must be co-designed with the entirety of impacted communities, especially the displaced students, through deep engagement that goes beyond downtown meetings with no childcare or listening only to the loudest voices. This facilities process began from a clear imbalance of under-enrollment and overutilization, but right now the lion's share of the rebalancing is happening through one small Southside cluster, where our children are being counted to support enrollments in Washington, South Atlanta, and the district-wide 612 at Carver. Since there's no way that that's enough rebalancing, the board must follow through on this proposed policy to guarantee ongoing attention and adjustments to district lines. I've heard a lot about one district, every child, but that only works if everyone in this city shares in the hard parts too, like unasked for changes to our schools. As others have said, boundary lines aren't private property, and they need to be lifted and moved in whatever way brings students, resources, and opportunities to every part of this district. Thank you.
Our next three speakers are Alan Lee, Naisha, and Alfred White. Please come in that order.
Good evening, board. I wrote down some thoughts when I heard the Spelman and Morehouse students speaking because they just moved me. I was glad to see them here. So I wrote down some thoughts to act like I had some sense, and these are my thoughts. When consolidating schools, consider ensuring a standard of service which will address equitable access. Currently, there is inequitable access to programming for students, inequities in music, art, library, technology, and other opportunities. If consolidation's main goal is to better use funds to meet the needs of students, ensure that our students at a minimum have a base offering of music, art, library, technology, and technology programming. And I just wrote that down because I just want to share that. But now I want to share something else, the history perspective. And even, I don't think none of you on the dais is there. Where's that? Oh, I don't think none of you on the dais is there. Maybe Briscoe Brown, board member Briscoe Brown, just a little bit. Before you really close a school, and I'm going to keep pushing you on this, every purpose-built school should close before any APS school. I was in this room when purpose-built talked about all the kids are going to have robots. They're going to have multiple teachers. They're going to have legal service. They're going to have a laundromat and a barber shop. Bull manure. Closed Kip. Some of those schools are failing far worse than yours. So before you start talking about ABS, start closing those schools. And they sold you by saying you can always close us. If we don't work out, we just go away. The reality, the board members that were there have gone away, and they are still here. No matter how you slice it, slant it, or spin it, you were sold a bunch of bull manure, and you have a responsibility to correct it. Thank you.
Good evening. I believe someone was speak before me. Can you hear me okay? My name is Alfred White. I serve, and I do mean serve, as the president of Continental Colony Community Association. The reason you see my face, and only my face tonight, is that we have an NPU meeting that is a conflict with this meeting. It's NPUR for our community. I wrote the normal monthly email to everybody and said, hey, you all attend that meeting because I'm going to attend this meeting. Why am I here? We have a different spin to some degree. While we agree with everything that you've heard, including the gentleman that just finished. But I promised myself that I would not bring that spirit today. No discredit, no disrespect. But I want you to hear something. We have at Continental Colony built what is called a legacy, and true legacy. The word's used and bounced around and we hear it, and it means something. Some folks don't even know what it means. But we have built a legacy in Continental Colony community, and a part of that legacy is Continental Colony Elementary School. And it is 50 years that they've been on our budget as a community association, okay? We have fought every developer that's come through that brought something to our community that wasn't appropriate for our children that live in that school every day. Long and short of this quick story I want to tell you is that while we were successful with that, City Hall, zoning, and all of those departments know us by name. Now, the very point that we were doing most of the saving for, you're taking it away from us. And I want you to know that. We have seniors there because we've been around 50 plus years. And let me quickly say this before my 2 minutes are up. I have two identical twin granddaughters.
I'm sorry, your 2 minutes are up.
I have two identical twin granddaughters, and they won't get to go to Continental.
I'm sorry, your 2 minutes are up. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Amber Scott, Rael Ingram, and Norris George. Please come in that order.
Hi, my name is Rael Ingram. I'm a first-year sociology major on the pre-nursing track from the Bronx, New York at Spelman College. And I have been unhoused for 11 years ongoing, with school being my safe haven for the majority of my life. Though I'm not an APS student or an APS graduate, I am a concerned Bonner scholar. I toured 4 schools, one of which was Dunbar, and here's what I noticed. In a state of the country where education is being redirected, whether in banned books or in-school gun violence, schools that care are needed. When you shut down Dunbar, you aren't just shutting down a school, you're shutting down a community. Dunbar hosts community showers, legal aid, take-home care packages, and so much more. But I'm not just here to scrutinize you or the decision. I'm here to present ways to reinvest in Dunbar, because you can utilize what's in front of you. You can have early learning programs, tutoring centers, and family resources all in one place. You can rent out unused classrooms to nonprofits, after-school programs, or local colleges like Spelman College, Morehouse, and others for tutoring programs. You can boost building usage and bring in funding without needing to close. Businesses that, I'm sure there's a lot of business owners in here as well, could sponsor a lab, a library, or outdoor learning gardens. You can build an enrollment revitalization campaign for community outreach, reshape negative beliefs around Dunbar, find a way to repurpose heavy costs. You can do something. When you shut down Dunbar, you're not just closing down a school, and you're not just closing down a community. You're closing down futures. I personally work or serve at KIPP, and seeing my Bonner sisters talk about how they have made an impact and how they have students run to them and tell them that they missed them over the weekend has empowered me to be here today to speak on behalf of Dunbar. Though I don't serve there, I do care for the community, and I hope that you do as well. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Norris George, and I'm a graduate of William J. Scott Elementary School, 1966. And that's a community that we was proud and doing all the adversities that had come through our community. It is starting to come back. I'm a volunteer at William J. Scott Elementary School. I see the teachers that are putting in the work. I see the principal that is changing the atmosphere of the community and the school. So I just think that we need a chance, because if you look back at our history, how prejudice, redlining, how our parents had to fight, to give us pride. In the community of Chattahoochee Brickyard, how they did the men and the women that lived in that community. Now that you're just going to close it and just erase our history, I think you need to think about it. I want to say, keep William J. Scott Elementary School alive, let it prosper.
And our last 2 speakers are Pat George and Nathaniel Dyer. Please come in that order.
Good evening. Appreciate the opportunity to speak. My name is Pat George. And that Reverend Arthur Carson is the pastor. I'm a member of Springfield Missionary Baptist Church, and I also went to William J. Scott Elementary School from 2nd grade to 4th grade. Then we were bused out of our community to go to Margaret Mitchell, Sutton Middle School, then to the former Northside High School. I got an excellent APS education, went on to Georgia State, graduated, became a journalist, always took the opportunity to go back to APS schools when invited, show the kids how they could succeed, where they could go, what they could do. William J. Scott Elementary School is a light in our community. Our community has changed so much in just recent years because of gentrification, and we don't want to see the school be lost. Even if you can't keep it open as a school, which I hope you will consider doing first and foremost. I hope you will. I want to echo what the young woman just said and look at it as a community center. We have homeless people in our community. We have children who fell out of the system during COVID, who stopped going to school and never returned. We have seniors in our community. We have people in our community who want to see it thrive. And we need that school to stay and be a light in that community. And not just, and be a landmark. It's an old landmark. We need that landmark there. I I went to a candidates forum and they were talking about putting up erecting some sort of sign. We don't need a sign. We need that building to remain there so that people can see William J. Scott for what it was, what it is, and what it can be. So I implore you.
Thank you. Your 2 minutes are up.
Keeping William J.
Thank
Scott
you.
Elementary. Thank you.
We're not going to allow you to continue to set our black boys and girls up for failure. You know, what have you given us? Cheating scandal, failing KIPS and purpose-built, giving them $300 million annually with no oversight, which they pull the numbers from the regular APS schools. Closures and mergers since, let's say, about 2011. You got to get your history together. It was more than 2 schools, okay? And then the track record of success is horrible. There has been no track record of success in closing and merging schools. Yet, on the north side, you expand. In one district, that's called racism, being inequitable. And you continue this cycle and expect great things. Let's look at what your proposal calls for. You want to make Washington a medical school. South Atlanta, something 3D. And then you want to say Harvard, a performing arts school, but yet you have no track record of success in creating anything powerful for black boys and girls. I'm going to say the student population in general. Look at your state rating. $1 billion, close to $2 billion of a budget, and you don't know how to spend it. Failure throughout the district. And here we are inundated with the question of closure. Get out of the business of development. Yeah, I know your clown mayor just got reelected. He's complicit in this as well. It's a developer's game. The World Cup is coming, and you're playing to their tune. But we're not going to stand for it. You will have stability in our communities for our children so that they may be able to grow up to success and see what they grew up and help create success within them. Thank you.
Madam Chair, that concludes our public comment.
Thank you. Thank you, community members, for joining us this evening. We always appreciate your feedback and engagement. For stakeholders who are unable to attend our monthly meetings in person, the full board meeting is available on YouTube channel ABOE TV, which can be accessed through our district website. Our commitment is to provide accessible resources that encourage and support meaningful stakeholder engagement.
This month, board members Baldwin and Brooks are going to give brief updates on our board committee meetings. Board member Brooks, will you give a brief update on policy, please?
Thank you, Vice Chair Mitchell, for the opportunity. Good evening. The Policy Review Committee met in October and considered several revisions to board policies that were approved by consideration tonight by the full board. We're amending our policy on the Student Advisory Council to provide for non-voting student participation on the Board of Education. I'm really excited about this policy. It will create a seat on the dais for a student who's an active member of the Student Advisory Council, as well as a seat on the policy committee as well. The committee recommends final approval for changes to our policies on internet acceptable use, bullying, and parental involvement in education. We have also approved our first reading changes to policy AD related to school attendance zones. Our next meeting is scheduled for next Tuesday, November 11th, and we anticipate a full agenda of policy review and discussion, and there is potential opportunity we may have a meeting in December to be determined.
Thank you very much. Board member Baldwin.
Right again. Thank you, Vice Chair McDonald. The Audit Committee met on October 9th, 2025, and we reviewed the current budget, and we've spent very little money of our $1 million budget, only spending about $60,000 so far. We also reviewed a plan to bring the audit function in-house and looked at what that staffing would look like. as well as reviewed the audit plan. And so in December, early December, our next meeting, we should be reviewing the miscellaneous cash activity funds, the student extracurricular audit, and the termination audit that are in process and currently being finalized. So I invite you all to come join us, because it will be a wonderful time.
Right. Thank you so much. And Board Chair Mitchell, you also attended an event out in Philly. Will you give a brief update?
Yes, I had the opportunity to attend the Council of Great City Schools Fall Conference in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Key takeaways were the sessions were very eye-opener. We think sometimes that as urban school districts, we are dealing with our issues or challenges in isolation, but no, we're not. Across the nation, I think we all are impacted by decisions that are made from the federal government. Just for example, with the delay with SNAP benefits, like we had several conversations around how to serve students, how to be innovative, how to be a community school to make up the difference for kids and families that are going through some challenges. But also, at the conference, there was a lot of discussions about best practices and innovation and safety and security. I would recommend that board members do attend this conference because they have several task force meetings, and I am on the task force for Black and Latino girls. They have one for Black and Latino boys. They also have one for academics and students with disabilities, and you're able to bring what are you doing in your district that is working? And in the task force, you're able to discuss different opportunities to improve outcomes for students. We also had a session on school governance, which is very important, and then also the superintendent have their Urban Superintendent Academy. Overall, the takeaway from the conference was great. It was a full 4 days in Philadelphia. I look forward to attending the conference next year in Denver, Colorado.
Great, thank you.
Oh, back on me. And this concludes my remarks. Dr. Johnson, we're ready to hear your remarks.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, board members, for those reports. During our work session, we had 4 presentations. We had an update on all aligned to our strategic plan. We had an update on expanding access to high interest and workforce-ready strategies from Dr. Wilson, Dr. Freeman, and Dr. Wilson. Our second presentation was on APFE, an update from Ms. Katie Post. The third update was from our CFO, Dr. Lisa Bracken, and our monthly budget update. And our last update was a update by several members of the team around facilities planning. I want to remind everybody and just point our community towards the www.atlantapublicschools.us/APS Food Now. We know that there are still a lot of our students and families that are adversely impacted by the federal government shutdown, and we want to make sure that our students and families know that we are still here to support them. This past weekend, we had a tremendous opportunity to recognize and be a part of APS. Kudos to all of the honorees, the nominees and winners, and then also a deep appreciation to all the folks behind the scenes that made that a very, very memorable event for so many of our staff and so many of our teachers. We just released today some visioning sessions for APS 4 2040, November 13th at 6 o'clock at Ralph J. Bunch Middle School, November 18th at 6 o'clock at Crawford W. Long, November 19th at 6 p.m. at John Lewis Invictus, and December 2nd, and I want to say publicly, and perhaps I'll have some more conversation, we know that's a runoff night for a few folks, and so we may look at the December 2nd meeting, but right now, December 2nd at H.J. Russell Academy. So we look forward to these sessions, the opportunity to hear from the community around where we want to go as we look forward as a school system. The last thing I'll say, then I want to turn to a brief video, is we had I would encourage our community to go back and take an opportunity to look at the 2:30 work session presentation around the facilities plan, robust presentation and conversation. We know this is a challenging moment in time, but it's also a real opportunity. And, the reality is and we appreciate HPM and their work, that none of the recommendations that are made lightly. We know that it will and does have an impact, and we're extremely sensitive to that. But we also know that we're absolutely better together, and if we use this as an opportunity to lean in, that we can come out on the other side as a much stronger school district, not just financially. That's secondary. The baseline of expectation that we have for each and every one of our schools and each and one of our classrooms across our school district, we have an opportunity to address that and to lean in. So would love to take just a moment if we could play the video and share a little bit about where we think we're headed. At Atlanta Public Schools, we believe in investing where passion and potential meet. That's the heart of APS Forward 2040, a long-range plan to reimagine what our schools can be. At Atlanta Public Schools, we believe in investing where passion and potential meet. That's the heart of APS Forward 2040, a long-range plan to reimagine what our schools can be, not just for today, but for the future. This isn't just about buildings, it's about possibilities, the same possibilities that fueled Dr. Alonzo Krim and Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays. So let's talk about what's possible. Let's dream a little.
We spent the last year listening. That's why during APS Forward 2040, we've hosted more than 50 public meetings, read over 7,600 survey responses, responded to more than 600 Let's Talk messages, delivered 9 task force updates, and welcomed nearly 30,000 visitors to our APS Forward 2040 website.
And we've had countless one-on-one conversations across neighborhoods, schools, and community groups, because this process has been guided by thousands of voices, from families and educators to students and community partners.
Look, I know change isn't easy. It brings questions, worries, and unknowns. I've walked these hallways. I've sat with families. I've been a principal. I'm also a parent here, so trust me when I say, I get it. But with change comes opportunity. And right now, we have the chance to build something better, together. We ask our students what they want to be when they grow up. And through the Youth Science Aptitude Test, we've learned their #1 interest is in the arts.
So imagine this, a district-wide School of the Arts right here in Atlanta, based at Carver High School. A place where students can earn college credits while studying design, media arts, and creative tech, with weighted preference for students from the Carver community. We're not just dreaming big, we're building a pipeline, from elementary STEAM programs to high school pathways that launch real careers, and that includes healthcare.
Right now, we're working on the new Academy for Biomedical and Health Sciences, with plans to partner with local and regional medical schools. Students will train in real healthcare settings, earn certifications in mental health, biotechnology, or patient care, and start their path to becoming doctors, therapists, or medical researchers. Right now, and just down the road, APS is launching the new Atlanta Innovation Center, with labs, studios, and wellness resources for both students and the community. We're not just imagining better schools, we're imagining a better Atlanta.
I am Kayla Kirpin, and I'm a second-year biology major at Spelman College. At North Atlanta, I actually focused more on being a cheerleader, and that's because the extracurricular activities that they had that were not really based on what you were interested in. When I was hearing about the opportunities, it really excited me, especially because I'm a biology major, like I said, but I'm working on being a fashion marketing minor. So medical classes and the art classes would have worked a lot with me, and they would have prepared me for a lot of the things that Spelman is trying to teach me now.
APS Forward 2040 is about rethinking how we use every property that APS owns. That might mean reactivating unused buildings, turning schools into community hubs, or exploring partnerships for affordable housing, even for our own educators. Because when we treat schools like community assets, we don't just serve students, we strengthen entire neighborhoods.
Along with deeper program offerings, this plan will help the district save
an estimated $25 million in operational savings every year, and avoid $65 million in future repairs. That's money we can reinvest where it matters most, in kids, classrooms, and opportunity.
We're not just making the smart decisions, we're working to make the right ones. Because the truth is, we can't just keep operating a school system built for more than 70,000 students when we get the privilege of serving 50,000. But we can use every resource we have to build something better. So if you're skeptical, we get it. Come talk to us. Tell us what your perfect school looks like for your child, for your neighborhood, for your future, and for the future of Atlanta. Because if you want someone to tell you all the things that we can't do, I'm not your guy. But if you're ready to imagine what is possible, we'll use every tool at our disposal to bring the very best to the children of Atlanta. So come on, join us, dream with us. So let's reshape the future of education as one district with one goal for every child.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Would you please present the consent agenda?
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm pleased to submit the consent agenda items for your consideration and approval.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items 5.1A through 5.4A?
So moved.
Properly moved by Board Member Briscoe Brown.
Second.
Second by Board Member Iretta Baldwin. Ms. Barnett, would you please open the polls?
To correct, I moved, Aretta seconded, and I am a yes. I don't know why it didn't come up. I am a yes.
Katie's a yes. Yes.
Thank you. Madam General Counsel, does the board need to report out from executive session?
Yes, Madam Chair, the board needs to take action on 2 items. First, I request a motion that the Atlanta Board of Education accept the hearing officer's findings of fact and recommendations dated October 10th, 2025, and terminate Mr. Robert Moten's employment.
Do I have a motion that the Atlanta Board of Education accept the hearing officer finding of facts and recommendation dated October 10th, 2025 to terminate Mr. Robert Moten employment?
So moved.
Properly moved by Board Member Briscoe Brown. Second by Vice Chair McDonald. It hasn't popped up yet. Sorry, yeah. I'm sorry. Sorry. Yeah, we're ready. I'm sorry. Ms. Barnett, would you please open the polls? Apologize, that's on me. Thank you.
And the final item, I request a motion that the Atlanta Board of Education accept the tribunal's findings of fact and modify its recommendations dated September 23rd, 2025, and terminate Mr. Philip Golden's contract for employment.
Do I have a motion for the Atlanta Board of Education Tribunal findings facts to modify its recommendation dated September 23rd, 2025 to terminate Mr. Philip Golden contract for employment.
So moved.
Properly moved by Board Member Briscoe Brown.
Second?
Second by Vice Chair McDonald. Board Member Pace.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I will abstain from voting on this as the matter involves a family member.
Thank you. Ms. Barnett, would you please open the polls?
What's the difference between abstaining and recusing?
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Barnett.
The special revenue report is a monthly report on grant budgets, adjustments, and amended budgets. The board travel report is a monthly report that details district-funded travel for board members in the board office, including the total year-to-date spending. The construction status report is a monthly report on active construction projects that are primarily funded by the voter-approved special purpose local option sales tax.
Each of these reports can be found under the Information tab in Assembly.
We would like to thank you for your participation, engagement, and support of Atlanta Public Schools. We look forward to engaging with you at our upcoming engagement opportunities. This is a reminder that our last board meeting for the calendar year will be held on Wednesday, December 3rd.
Now I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Properly moved by Board Member Vice Chair McDonald, second by Board Member Briscoe Brown. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.